Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of On Board with Cruise Passenger. I'm Rose Kelly, your host.
And I'm Peter Lynch, publisher of cruisepassenger.com.au and Cruise and Travel Luxury magazine. Today we're continuing with our podcast series on river cruising.
And rather than speaking with the cruise lines, as we usually do, Peter, we have a slightly different topic, but one that I'm absolutely certain our listeners are going to be delighted with.
Oh, yes. You're right, Rose, because who doesn't love saving money?
There it is. So we're here to tell you how you can save up to $13,000 by booking a river cruise on one of the most popular itineraries of all. That's the 15-day Amsterdam to Budapest sailing in peak or shoulder season.
Yes, River Cruise Passenger has just conducted an investigation into the cost of a river cruise versus the cost of doing a holiday to the same destinations by land. And the remarkable outcome is that amazing savings can be made.
So we took a journey by river and then one by car, and this is for a couple from the Dutch city of Budapest, which is famous for its Parliament building.
Fabulous destination.
I love Budapest.
Love it. This is, in fact, where many first-time river cruisers start their love affair with river cruising.
It's incredibly popular for a reason. It is just so beautiful. And it's also filled with some of the most iconic sites and these beautiful townships of Europe. It's kind of like the ultimate river cruise destination for any age or interests.
It is amazing, and I can still remember the first time I was parked outside that amazing Parliament building with its brilliant lights. It's a personal favourite of mine, and I've done it 3 times, and it's still as beautiful as ever. The wineries, the castles.
Oh, the wineries, Peter, yes.
The wineries,
but we also, here's what we did. We also chartered the same 1,400-kilometre trip by Volvo car with the accommodation, the luxury hire car, the fuel, the insurance and the meal costs.
Not to mention the emotional strain on anyone doing this journey by car, travelling down the autobahns with luggage, carting it from hotel to hotel every day, being stuck in the traffic, navigating with those maps, getting lost. The list is endless.
I'm having an anxiety attack just thinking about it. Flashbacks of disastrous road trips of my past are flashing before my eyes as we speak, Peter. Now, I'd literally pay to not have to do that journey with my loved ones by car.
Nothing against Volvo, by the way. So when we now compare this experience to the idea of being on a luxury riverboat, where you unpack only once. You stay in the same luxury suite or cabin.
Now we're talking.
Each night you have your meals served to you. You drink a cocktail. You have a tour. There's a spa treatment, a laundry. And everything is taken care of.
You are selling it.
And now it's less than half the price. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, when you compare them like that and you speak about the actual finer details. So let's talk about those details, and for a comparison's sake, let's look at a current 2024 European river cruise season.
Everything included.
With everything included.
Fabulous wines.
From as low as $7,705 per person with Avalon for a 14-night cruise in October. Also, AMA Waterways for 2025, $8,563 per person in a standard room.
Amazing. So let's examine what you get. First, the accommodation. Given the luxury of staying on an Avalon or AMA Waterways ship, you'd need an equivalent high-end hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
And to compare like for like, you need somewhere lovely to stay for at least 6 nights in Europe. And that can set you back an average of 250 to 500 euros a night. That's 7,500 euros at the top end of your trip.
Or just over 12,000 Australian dollars.
Australian dollars.
So let's talk about transport. Now, you have to hire a car. as opposed to walking across a gangplank.
Doesn't have to be a Volvo, but
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to. I'd like it to be though, but it's 1,400 kilometres for this road trip for the equivalent Amsterdam to Budapest. So that would take about 15 hours on the Autobahn non-stop. However, a road trip parallel to the destinations encountered on a river cruise would, of course, make it a much longer journey and a more pleasant journey. But if we're to strip back to the basics, a Hertz hire car would amount to just over $3,000 for a 15-day car hire with a Volvo CX-90. So that's adding it all up, Peter. We're looking at estimated driving times, the total road trip from Amsterdam to Budapest with the same stops of Cologne, Koblenz, Mitzenberg, Würzburg, Bamberg, Nuremberg, Regensburg, all the bergs, Passau, Melk, beautiful town Melk, Krems and Vienna. It would be about 20 to 26 hours. And that's not including the time spent at each stop for sightseeing, meals, rest breaks, overnight stays, arguments with your husband about who's reading the map correctly.
I was going to say, I'd say 26 days looking for a car spot. Add 2 or 4 coffees a day which for a couple, say €3 to €6 each. That's about €150 in total.
And that's very important to me, coffee.
Absolutely. We know how important that is to you, Rose.
Oh, it's vital.
Speaking of coffee, food and drink.
Your favourite.
Well, a luxury river cruise usually includes breakfast, 2-course lunch and a 3-course dinner, both with wine. You'd be up for a bit more on the road.
Oh, just a fraction more,
just
I
a
would
bit
say.
more.
Yeah.
I mean, look to pay a minimum of €50 for a 2-course lunch
At least.
in a cafe or restaurant, while a decent diner, maybe even a Michelin-starred restaurant, if we feel like splurging, for 2 would set you back, well, even more.
Loads more.
I'd say, just thinking about Cologne's Fadra restaurant, which is very well known, a 4-course degustation at €82 per person or €270 a couple.
Oh, no,
minus
that's $270 per couple. Minus the wine.
Minus the wine.
Let's round it up to about $300 with you there, Peter.
Add a few of those special dinners on your road trip and you wouldn't get much change out of $4,500.
Oh, my goodness.
Want more Michelin-starred meals or dine a la carte? That would increase the cost to quite a bit more.
Quite a bit more.
Add the occasional breakfast and who
Was
wouldn't?
that a champagne breakfast, Peter?
Well, with euros, absolutely. And a hotel buffet, perhaps, or a mid-level restaurant experience, including your hotel. And your F&B bill would be, are you ready?
Do I want to know?
€7,200.
Oh, that's
or
about
$11,703.
Oh, my goodness.
So let's just look at all of that detail. Guided tours, for instance. That's not included in your road trip. And that might cost you as much as €100 per person.
Ooh.
So that's around $2,438.
Okay, so by our calculations, if you were to do a similar itinerary from Amsterdam to Budapest over the 15 days, the road trip would cost over $28,000.
Yep.
And here's how the road trip costs when it's all panned out. So you've got the accommodation for $12,129.
You've got the car hire for $3,138.
Fuel, $304.
Insurance, $2,438.
Oh, food, just over $7,000.
And that's a grand total of $28,391.
Oh, and then car hire companies will charge between 100 and 300 euros as a surcharge to drop the car back on a one-way trip, unless you want to do it all over again and drive all the way back to Amsterdam, Peter?
No, thank you. Let's hope it doesn't have any dents.
Well, there you have it. A side-by-side comparison on what you get with a river cruise versus trying to do the same trip yourself. You can decide what's better value.
And not just for your hip pocket, but potentially for your sanity.
Oh, not
And
to
your
mention your marriage, your friendships, your sanity. Consider all of that when you can see why this investigation went absolutely viral. We've been receiving loads of messages from our readers in response to this story. You can see why, so do keep them coming.
So there it is. The strongest case for river cruising. It's not just the price. Yeah. Remember,
it's your sanity,
your marriage, your sanity, your kids' sanity.
Yeah, so, and the whole experience.
Yes.
Yeah. But you can read more at the next edition of Cruise and Travel, our gorgeous print magazine. It's on sale now at selected newsagents, or you can subscribe at cruisepassenger.com.au.
Yes, please sign up for our newsletter for lots more. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys. See you next time.